I'm a woman on campus. I'm a strong woman on campus. I'm a passionate woman, which means I cannot be silent anymore about the culture of assault and sexism I see and the lack of action. Sure, we have walks. We have nice t-shirts and little prayer services, which are all well and good to spread awareness. But we are aware. We need education on this campus and not the usual, make sure your skirt isn't too short. Or maybe you should be carrying mace. Or you knew what could happen if you got that drunk. We need to know yes means yes. I followed my first attacker to college. I was so stressed my freshman year. What if he tried again? Could we still be friends? That last question seems odd. I still blamed myself, as my friends did. I didn't say no, those two all-important letters. But I will not be silent. I said stop. I said I don't want to. I said why. I said do we have to? Do not tell me that I secretly wanted it. When a man scares you too much to run, too much to stop being friends with, too much to say those all-important letters, he is still at fault. No one has the right to kick me, or push me, or check me into lockers because I pull away from his embrace. We need to know these attacks, however serious, are scarring. These attacks are nothing to be joked about, nothing to be brushed off. Without validation, without justice, we cannot heal. The $500 my uncle gave me will never buy back my respect for him. Will never buy back my feeling of safety in his home. Will never stop me from being ever vigilant when he's in the same room as my younger cousins. I cannot just get over it. SAO, GRC, we are aware. We know our gender relations are fucked up. We need to teach attackers who, remember, can be anyone. We need to teach and encourage respect. We need to take action.
Stratification is for sedimentary rocks. Stratification is for the expanses of space, with exquisite atmospheres layered piece by piece into the great beyond. Stratification is for sand art, 7-layer dips, and soil beds. But tell me I'm not that bottom layer of rock, bearing the pressure of every molecule above pushing down upon me. When I explain to my best friend's mom that yes, my dad works for the airlines, but no, he's not a pilot because he didn't graduate from college. And with a surprised tone, she reminds me how my dad is so lucky I could come to Notre Dame. When I tap out another FAFSA application, ask to squeeze another dime from the rector's fund, as the powers that be in main building sigh. Tell me I'm as refined and treasured as that top, mysterious layer of space, when I will not be buying that new Hall sweatshirt. When I hold out my hand one last time to ask for class ring money from a fund kept quiet, private, shameful. Make me believe I'm not that forgotten layer of earth, disposable enough to slide into the molten core of the earth without anyone mourning its loss. When my parents can't chime in to tailgate conversations about vacation homes and vineyard vines. When my ears turn red in quiet anger as classmates sling terms as leech and lowlife at those lazy people who lean on the welfare state. But if no one knows where I come from, I'm not stratified. I dance atop the facade, silhouetting the Notre Dame supposed socioeconomic stratus, and join the silent majority. Yet the pressure of the rocks above, of a lifestyle far out of reach, of conversations I cannot join, of comments which chip away my dignity, continues. I lie hidden at the bottom. I can hope that the pressure one day forms me into a diamond. But for now, I remain stratified.
There are 4 undergrads on wheels at Notre Dame. 4. And that's relatively a lot. Before I enrolled, there was 1. With any kind of diversity, life is hard because of how people perceive you. With physical disability, add to that hardship the fact that daily life and activities are just hard. Period. I need help dressing, showering, eating, using the bathroom, and maintaining my surroundings. I need to be awake and functioning at least 4 hours before a class if I plan to shower. And all time is devoted to aesthetic preparation. No schoolwork. I can't thieve, dance in crowded, drunken places. It is near impossible to visit off-campus housing since most are inaccessible. So to the majority of campus, I'm someone to pet, feel sorry for, talk down to, treat extremely awkwardly, call baby or honey, because let's face it, I don't have a brain. Notre Dame only admitted me because they felt bad for me. The Sarah B. Learning Center is positioned behind main building and quaintly overlooks St. Joseph's Lake. It houses Notre Dame's Office of Disability Support Services. It has a sluggish desktop with its impossibly sticky keyboard. Sarah B's budget doesn't allow for the purchase of a new desktop computer, but a laptop-compatible keyboard is doable. Not enough money. A university with God only knows how large of an educational endowment that almost ruined my commencement ceremony to work on a completely unnecessary $400 million stadium renovation project cannot afford a single new computer, and several would be much better. It wouldn't just affect me. Over 100 students take exams at the Office of Disability Support Services. After all, the university is regarded so highly academically because students perform well, particularly on exams. Why would the university not want to ensure the availability of good academic resources? People who use elevators simply because they're lazy, it's awkward for everyone. Do you know how much I would love to be tired of walking? And yes, I do actually have to go places. Making the person who needs it wait because you couldn't bear to walk up 2 flights of stairs is just rude. Elevators don't only exist for convenience. I rode to the 2nd floor in an elevator with an older man who told me how cool my wheelchair is and how fun it looks to maneuver. I smiled weakly. You know, walking looks really fun, I wanted to say.
Click, click, click. Name, GPA, parents' education history. My fingers rattled on the keyboard as I punched in things that define me. Things that show Notre Dame who I am. Leadership positions, SAT scores, APs, rec letters, sports played. Race. The answer lies right in front of me. I have the tribal card as proof, but I don't identify with anything on this drop-down menu, and that's a problem. Filling out my college applications should not have been the first time I had to seriously think about being Native American. I should have had a problem with the fact that the application called my people Indian and not Native American. And finally, I should have had the courage to fill in that blank space on the side with what my race really is, not some general name for the 562 very different tribes, but the real name, the name of my community, Cherokee. Cherokee wasn't on the drop-down menu. My experience is not unique, and I'm not here to say that it's someone else's fault. My relatives wanted nothing to do with their tribal institution after the Trail of Tears. But that's a choice I have to make for myself as well. A culture should not be allowed to simply die out because it does not have its own skin tone to genetically force its survival. Koreans, Chinese, Filipino, African, Haitian, Cuban, Cherokee, Sioux, Lakota, all Asian, Black, American Indian. The list goes on. We cannot allow ourselves to be generalized to such an extent that our individual cultures cease to exist. I realized upon arriving on campus that there is no better time in our lives to search for and to write about and to live out our cultures than now, and to share. My great-grandmother's wish to forget her culture because of the pain the world caused her came true. She has Alzheimer's, and she cannot tell me any creation stories or even teach me her native language. But I know now her tears when she would refuse to celebrate Thanksgiving with the family, or tears for the fact that I will never be able to dress up on Halloween and be taken seriously as Native American because of stereotype. And nevertheless, without dressing up, everyone around me still sees my race as a cheat tool to get into college and fill a quota. You fill in the blanks with your negatives. Discrimination, stereotypes, statistics. But do something for me now. Place yourself, all of you. Place your culture, race, sexual orientation, lifestyles, personalities. Place it in an absolute value sign. Can you see? We can transform misconceptions, forgetfulness, ignorance, and judgment into awareness, memory, knowledge, and beauty. There's just as much value in the negatives as there are in the positives. If we're always working to share these values with each other, the extent to which we can build each other up while we're here at Notre Dame is endless. As the Sioux proverb states, with all things and in all things, we are relatives. Let's boycott the drop-down menu.
To whom it may concern. Africa is not a fucking country. Although this is already known information, but then tell me why when we talk about Ebola, we say it's hit Africa. We may as well say it's hit the UK, China, the US, France, Spain, India, Eastern Europe, Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, and Japan. Because that's how many countries fit into the continent. And please stop treating Africa as if it's disease. Yes, parts of West Africa had cases of Ebola, but disease isn't born in the continent. Is it a cornerstone of our foundations? We have diseases that are hard to combat like everywhere else. Nothing more, nothing less. And please, stop treating African citizens as second rate. Ebola has been around for almost a year, but then an American gets it, then it's an outcry. Why wasn't it an outcry back in March with patient 0? And we're not primitive either. So yes, we do speak good English. And yes, we do have wildlife. But whether we have lions as pets, however, is a fabrication of your ignorant imaginings. And yes, I do click. It's not called African, although it's from a specific region in southern Africa. I call this click the strength of my language, the backbone of my identity. And no, I don't know Mr. John Hulange from Zimbabwe, who is 1 out of 14 million people that you miraculously think I would know. Do you know everyone in South Bend? Do you know everyone at Notre Dame? Why is it that my obligation to remember a whole country's populace? And Africans, don't think you've escaped scrutiny just because we share descent lines and soil. What is I hear about Unite Africa? Unite 55 different countries with a diversity of dialects and ethnic groups? Why? Why must we fly under one banner to make true the African country stereotype? We are different, accept it. I don't want to be governed by a single political or social force. So unite for what? You don't hear South America preaching the unification of its 12 countries. They revel in their differences, but they cooperate. Now, cooperation I agree with. Let us cooperate so that we prosper in the long and short term, but don't tell me to unite with my neighbor just because we share geography. Take the time to learn not only about my beloved African country, but about other parts of the world too. And for those of you from the continent, relearn your history. and appreciate its differences.
We say race doesn't matter, that it shouldn't, that no one should focus on the exterior. It's what's on the inside. It's what counts. Bullshit! Then tell me why you put on makeup this morning. Why did you smear your eyelids with black coal and iron out your hair? Why did you powder your skin? Cosmetics is a billion-dollar industry. It feeds on your insecurity, so you buy up the items it preaches will make you more beautiful, desired, craved. The item for dark skin, bleacher. The item for black hair is relaxer, but only because my hair is tense about the feelings of apathy towards it. Race is not an issue? What are you talking about? We are built on a hierarchy of stratified exteriors. Check Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all surface level interactions, so why not look good? We fit in better like that anyhow. We'd rather look good than have political opinions. Makes sense. Talking about what's going on in Syria is not a very good party starter. You can't fuck a degree. It's funny. I see black people walking with hair so straight, you think it never kinks. Some hair doesn't even belong to people. I'm not saying you don't have a choice over what to do with your own hair, but I am saying be conscious of your choices. Relearn the history of your thick Afro funk. Appreciate every tangle as a marking of history, of where we come from and what we survived. Your hair says something about you. Be conscious of your choices.
Race is not an issue.
Then why does Beyonce look white on L'Oreal adverts?
Race is not an issue.
I'll tell you why. It's because we're taught that black is ugly. And it is. Look at it. It's like I've been charcoaled. But let me tell you something. Black is only ugly because beauty is owned by white people. How many cosmetic companies and designer labels have black CEOs? Even companies which produce relaxants and weaves are largely white-owned. So, we're being sold white beauty even by black-marketed brands. We will never get over the color of our skin if we don't refuse to swallow the cosmetic standard set by one subset of society. Start questioning your ideas of beauty.
I can't tell you how many times I've told people from back home that I go to Notre Dame, and their response has been, I love Notre Dame football. Or, I went there once for a football game. Or, how do you think the team's going to do this year? There's a part of me that fiercely hates football. I'm an athlete too, but because I am a woman, no one cares. I follow exactly the same NCAA rules the football team does. I put in the same number of hours into my training. My team is ranked higher nationally. We have no issues with drug or rape scandals, and our grades are higher. And yet, on Saturdays in the fall, I see thousands of people flocking to campus for football games. When it's my turn to compete, I'm lucky if my parents show up. If my team is about to do a time trial and the football team decides they need to use our facility to do their warm-up, they have the right to kick us out and make us wait for them. We're second-class citizens. One time, in the middle of a conditioning session, I needed to use a tampon. I went to the medical room where all the training supplies are kept, and they said, "Sorry, we don't keep tampons here." I couldn't believe it. It honestly never occurred to you that one of the 300 or so female athletes on campus might need a tampon. You have an MRI machine, but no tampons? I'm not going to take what I have for granted. If I had gone to Notre Dame 30 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to be an athlete at all. We've come a long way. But men's and women's sports still can't be called anything that resembles equal. I've had male classmates tell me that the only virtue in watching women's sports is so they can look at our asses. They think I run for an hour to make myself skinny, do some half-ass sit-ups, and then play a few games. And in return, the school piles benefits and scholarships and free clothes on me. In reality, while the rest of you are sleeping, I'm lifting weights that are heavier than my own body and doing push-ups in a puddle of my own sweat. I train 12 times a week, and I am in pain more often than not. And don't forget, I've got homework. My scholarship is my work study, and if I fail to perform up to a certain standard, I lose my job. I am a slave. I sold my body for financial aid. So why do I still compete? Does my love of the sport make it worth it? Do I do it simply because it's expected of me? Or because I'm stubborn? Well, maybe that's part of it. But mostly, I'm holding out for the day, long after I'm retired from my sport, when we're equal. Ugh! May the best athlete always win.
Ugly. Run down. There's nothing here. Unsafe. Crime-ridden. Poor. These are a few of the words I've heard used on this campus to describe my hometown. I never cease to be shocked that the city I experience as full of possibility remains unexplored and dismissed by so many. Yes, I'm talking about South Bend. A few years ago, well, not that long ago, I can still feel the dent in my gut from the punch. An MD professor's comments were published in the local paper, where she expressed her sympathy for the poor father she drove by each morning as he waited with his two daughters and their cute backpacks for the school bus to arrive and take them to what she assumed was a failing public South Bend school. Sipping my coffee and warming my toes as I read the story, I pictured myself on the dark and frigid street corner I'd stood on with my own daughters just a few moments earlier. Were we the objects of this woman's pity? After all, there are 2 girls and 1 me, and their backpacks, not to mention their faces, are pretty cute, if I do say so myself. And we do indeed, every morning, wait for a school bus to take them to a South Bend public school. My cheeks flushed as I thought of my daughters hearing their school and their lives talked about this way. Because their bus has had the same driver for the past 7 years, and he greets each child by name each day. He's been known to drop back by on his route with homework and mittens left behind during the boisterous chatter of the homeward journey. And we're never waiting too long at the bus stop because Mr. Sims is always right on time, unless his bus breaks down. And my girls hop eagerly onto the bus each day. There they learn how the world works. They pick up Pokemon cards, hand games, and ever more inventive forms of body humor. Kids of all colors and ethnic heritages do the Cupid shuffle in their seats and swap stories of everyday life and birthdays. Little kid stories that help them see their commonalities, but become curious of their differences. As they get older, they begin to see their lives and futures as interwoven with one another. On the bus, friendships and love relationships bloom across racial, ethnic, political, and religious divides. The South Bend I know is a place of possibility, where a transplant does not forever feel like a visitor, where you can find people that want to change the things you wish to change and join with them. A place anchored by a beautiful river of energy and motion, a city where pupusas, curries, beignets, and local brews tempt the palate, a city where fun pops up at local galleries, shops, parks, the zoo, the minor league baseball stadium. A city with a growing immigrant population, attracting citizens from all over the globe. At my kids' school on the west side, there's a planetarium, a little room with a great lit-up globe in the middle, where children gaze wide-eyed at the stars projected on the rounded ceiling, their little minds taking in just how small we are in this universe, how much there is that we don't know. South Bend offers kids the chance to grow up comfortable difference, but at the same time invites its citizens to be part of something bigger. On the bus, kids learn not everyone looks like them, thinks like them, has a family structure like them, or loves like them. Yet, we can all gaze at the same stars, if only we look up. I have to go. The bus will be here any minute. If you see me waiting on the street corner today, don't feel sorry for me. In fact, come join me. I am waiting for the future. A future in a city full of potential.
I am a white man. My longtime girlfriend here at school happens to be of Filipino descent.
I am in love. In a head over heels, committed kind of love. The catch, I am a Filipina in love with a white guy. I am in love, but people take every chance they can to define my love. Oh, your kids would be so beautiful. Why do Asian girls only go for white guys? Are you sure he doesn't have, yellow fever? I am in love, but it goes far beyond the stairs at South Dining Hall. We share inside jokes, we hold each other's hands, we talk about our future. We share typical relationship problems. I'm an awful texter with a tendency toward abrasiveness, but he's incredibly compassionate and thrives on emotional support.
My girlfriend and I like to have long talks about our backgrounds. I have had family in this country since colonial days, and she is the first generation from her family to have been born in this country. There are a few times when she misses some old American cultural reference, but I always enjoy explaining the reference and sharing my culture with her. Obviously, relationships are a two-way street, so I'm often educated on Filipino culture and her family background. And in spite of all of this positivity between us, there are always issues, and we've discussed them.
I am in love, but I also have my fears. What if he doesn't like the food that my parents make? My dad doesn't speak English very well. Will he be invited into my extended family's holiday parties? What will our kids look like? Is it possible for them to appreciate and embrace both of their inherited ethnicities? Oftentimes, he'll bring up American pop culture references or point out how I pronounce something a little strangely. Heck, I've never seen Leave It to Beaver, and sure, I do mispronounce salmon. I get nervous because I don't share the same past, but he instantly explains that it's just something that his parents grew up with. My parents grew up in the Philippines. I happily provide glib anecdotes about how my mom mispronounced cocoa in Starbucks instead.
Like, why do people look at us weird? Have you ever seen two people holding hands before? There are all sorts of stigmas associated with interracial dating. Even my own father has joked with me about it. I didn't find it too funny. And whenever we go outside of the Notre Dame bubble, the looks get all the more confused and judgmental. No, I'm not some creepy Asian fetishist. And no, I did not order her from overseas. We met through mutual friends and hit it off. We've been dating for almost 2 years. It's ridiculous.
An alumni that I briefly spoke with at a football game commented, a Filipino girl with a clawed ring, I just chuckled and pretended not to be so off-put. But so what? I am in love!
With all these stigmas in place, I have lots of concerns about our future. I mean, I might marry this girl and start a family with her. So what about our kids? Will they look like me? If they don't look like me, will I get accused of being a kidnapper when I take my own children to go get groceries? And what will they think of me? Will they identify with being white? With being Filipino? I hope both. They'll need to know that their whole family cares about them and wants them to know all about where they came from. Each side has so much to give to the other, and that's what love is all about.
I tell myself I want the whole Notre Dame kind of love, the Basilica wedding, the whole shebang, but I can't get rid of that nagging feeling that maybe that kind of love isn't for girls like me. I want to define my love on my own terms, but I can't shake the feeling that I'll never be able to escape the sideways glances. But still, I am in love. In a challenging, inspiring, supportive, passionate, and interracial love.
I guess a part of me hopes to be an example for others out there. Be strong and show love wherever you go. I'm enamored by her. She makes me smile like no one else can. She'll be a great mom someday, and she'll be super successful. She's just an awesome person. And she thinks I'm pretty awesome too. So I stand by my decision
and hold her hand in public anyway.
It all began freshman year. We learned of the struggle. No, not the hashtag struggle finals week or the hashtag struggle 8 a.m. gym cam. We mean the struggle of being a black female at Notre Dame. For those of you unacquainted with this experience, it goes a little something like this.
Tell them.
Scene. You walk into your first dorm party, freshman year, full of excitement, expectation, and naughty light. You're looking pretty good. And so are your lighter-skinned floor mates. This is where the pattern begins. Eyes turn your way, quickly glance at your brown skin, and then fly over your head to settle on your friends instead. Fast forward 1 year later, you walk into a house party. Eyes turn your way, quickly glance at your brown skin, and then fly over your head to settle on your friends instead. Fast forward 2 years later, you walk into Feed. Lather, rinse, repeat. Oh Jesus, let's switch it up. Finnies, same. CJ's, same. God damn it, of course, after the first few times, you learn to bring a wing woman. So you're not the only black girl. So you're not dancing alone in the corner while all of your friends pair up. This is probably sounding real familiar to some of you ladies out there.
Yes.
I could tell you stories about how outside of Notre Dame, I'm attracted to men from all races and backgrounds. It's such a relief to go back home, to go study abroad, to go somewhere else, where people don't attribute a long list of characteristics to me because of my skin. Rather, they see it as a pleasant physical characteristic that says absolutely nothing about who I am. But that doesn't matter. The point is that here, I'm automatically overlooked. I don't even expect to be looked at. It's not an issue of being the bottom of the totem pole. It's an issue of not even being considered as an option. We're not even the last call. We're not even worth it. And I know you're probably thinking, maybe you're just ugly.
Oh, hell
I like to think otherwise, but who knows? Maybe I am. The thing is, I don't need you to see me as your future wife. I don't need you to see me as attractive, and I definitely don't need you to see me as exotic. But could you at least see me as an individual and not as another brown girl? And don't tell us it's all in our heads, because you can actually feel it. The gaze, it washes over you and just keeps on going. That kind of hurts. I've just been visually dismissed. It sucks that we even have to try to play ourselves into a game. Like, hey, you over there? Yeah, this black female is down. I don't discriminate. This isn't about beauty. Women of color are beautiful and unique, just as white women. I think many would agree on that. But it's the worth that's designated to black women in general in our society, that even if they are beautiful, they're still somehow less. We've been conditioned to not expect any sort of acknowledgement. Since when did this become a luxury?
Never.
This is wrong. Y'all ready to go out? Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, and one more thing. Saying that you think Beyonce is hot as a white male doesn't help, because I know that you would still pick Taylor Swift anyway.
Bam!
Thank God for self-deprecating humor. Thank God my teammates can laugh when I make a gay joke. Because, to be honest, it's one of the few times I feel like I fit in. Sure, they all accept me. Or at least anyone who doesn't knows better than to say to my face. But there's still something there. A strange sort of uneasiness when I speak up about my rather gay side of the story. This sort of fingers in my ears, la la la, I can't hear you, terror that strikes them when I suggest that maybe, just maybe, they might enjoy the wonder that is prostate stimulation. But hey, what can I do? Masculinity is king in this sport. For them, that means their sexuality. For me, that means not giving a fuck. I get it, and I don't love them any less for it. But for once, it'd be nice to not be the butt of my own jokes. You know?
When I did something obsessive compulsive, I apologized to my friend saying I was OCD. Me too, she laughed. I had to explain to her that no, really, like I actually have obsessive compulsive disorder. She laughed. Me too. You are not so OCD when you double check that door is locked. You're not so OCD when you keep your food separate on your plate. I was so OCD and I got so anxious in high school to the point where I was checking my work and rechecking and rechecking and rechecking and one more time just to be 100% absolutely, without a doubt, positively certain. I am so OCD that I question every single decision I make and feel guilt and anxiety over most everything I do. Because what if I didn't check it enough? What if I did it wrong? What if something happens? I was so OCD that anxiety caused me to miss 186 days of high school. I don't want to, but I do it. I do it, and I hate it, and I can't fucking stop. I was so OCD when I had a breakdown, age 16, waiting in the family room at 4 a.m. And my parents could not take the calc book away yet. I hadn't reviewed it quite 87 times. I was so OCD when I went to the hospital, when I sat beside a man who had cut one wrist of cooking. And he had to cut the other too. You laugh about being so OCD. I hope you know that 3.3 million people suffer from it. That it affects children as young as 1.5 years old. That less than 1 in 10 sufferers are getting treatment. 1/3 attempt suicide. 9 in 10 dream of it. You are not so OCD when you straighten some freaking war art. You don't get to fucking say me too. Where are your scars? Where are your wants? Where is your loneliness and anger at people saying that they aren't, that I get it, and laughing at it? As though mental illness is a joke. As though I am. We talk of being a welcoming place. We talk of being a smart group of people. I want to believe that Notre Dame is both of this. But when you hear it all the time, So OCD, so OCD, so OCD, so OCD. You can't help but want to cry. And again, and again, and one more time, to be certain. You wouldn't say, I'm so cancer. Don't you dare think you have a right to say, you're so OCD.
I promised myself I would never kiss first. I would never be the one to break, to take those terrifying steps, leaning in and claiming another's untouched lips. Because, obviously, pity would incite them to accept, regardless of their true feelings. And you know, there's always the chance they turn away. What could that mean for me? Normal people worry about their bodies, but not the way I do. I love winter, hate the weather. When cold first sweeps into South Bend, I have my long sleeves ready to cover the tips of my fingers. The stump, my wrist. Because I've seen you all turn away. Snatch up your cell phones, look at the stupid dome, anything but meet my gaze. You would betray yourselves then. Don't lie to me. I have lived with this my entire life, and only in a fucked up lie called adulthood have I understood. When Michael kissed me first, I made all the moves. God, was I obvious. 14-year-old me never understood how we could be beautiful and know that and use it. This summer, I received so many good things. His gentleness, the day on the picnic bench, when his friends told me he fancied the fuck out of me. Those goddamn Irish boys and their stupid sayings. Michael considered my body hot, but we never talked about my hand, and idiot that he was, one day he said that hands were the most important piece of being in bed together. That hurt. Even though it meant nothing. It was just something to say. Michael never saw me as a one-handed girl, and that in itself was amazing. But this supposed lack, this so-called disability, I've lived with forever. It makes things so difficult sometimes. And inherently, surprisingly, condemningly beautiful. I see people all over campus with wheelchairs, with prosthetics, walking blind. We are quite literally the ignored minority. You do everything you can to make us believe you can't see. And you fail. Every fucking day. When you don't see me as one-handed, you don't see me as whole. Not that my hand becomes all of me. Far from it. But it's something. And just so you know, I'm working on kissing first. Because I can now.
Ma'am, can you please leave? You are not allowed to pick up your children. I saw my mom walk away with her girlfriend while the whole time she looked at me trying to apologize and comfort me with her gaze. The looks and laughs started then. Did you see her, Mom? She dresses like a guy. What if she likes girls too? I was in 3rd grade, and I felt hatred for the first time. The yard duty ladies only shunned my mom because she was abnormal, a lesbian. Fast forward to 5th grade. Homeless people are homeless because they want to. I'm still a child, but I have to make sure that my brother and sister don't grow up with that mentality. My mom is not the man in rags next to Vaughn's, but my mom is the woman in dirty clothes laying down in what they call Hobo Park. She's homeless. My mom is not homeless because she wants to, is she? Fast forward to 7th grade. Your mom was picked up by a van today as she dropped the kids off at school. My mom was what the government saw as illegal. The elementary school witnessed my mom's last moments in the land of dreams, where her dreams stayed as dreams and nothing more. I grew up hearing people whisper and talk behind my back. Since the whole cycle started early when my parents separated, I learned early on what was important in my life, school, and family. I sure as hell was not going to let ignorance break me down and make me into what everyone expected me to be, a troubled girl with no future. Yes, I am Hispanic. I come from a dysfunctional family. My mom is lesbian, my mom was deported, my dad is a field laborer, I labored in fields. I've witnessed drug and alcohol abuse by loved ones, and I am here. I am here because I've worked my butt off and I continue to do so. Sadly, I'm one of the lucky ones, an exception. It's time to share stories and make a change. Maybe exceptions will no longer be another minority if we do so. Maybe the abnormal will become the norm.
I can just remember sitting in the salon chair, my stomach aching, regretting having my mom drop me off at the hair salon by myself. I'm a grown woman, and I can handle this. But it would have been nice to have some support, someone to tell me I wasn't crazy, and when it was all over, say I looked beautiful. Just days before, a family friend responded to my decision to cut my hair with a delightful variation of, ugh, ew. And you're gonna look ugly. You can guess why I decided not to tell many people beforehand. Comments like, now you can wear more makeup, led me to believe that by cutting my hair, I would have to make up for the beauty and femininity I had lost. I was sick of all the opinions. I'm sorry. I believe this was a personal decision, not a public one. Are you ready? I didn't realize I'd been closing my eyes the whole time. I almost didn't even want a part of the whole process. Like, my backstory could be that some woman attacked me, chopped off all my hair in my sleep, and I just had no say in it. Unfortunately, I realized consent was necessary for her to do her job, and my eyes would have to be open for the whole ride. Are you ready? Yes. She takes the scissors and begins to cut. Not little clippings, I'm talking big, huge chunks. I wanted to cry and scream, stop! Stop! What the hell are you doing, woman? I felt as if someone was sawing off my arm. I checked the ground to see if there was any blood, to explain all the hurt. Nothing but chunks of dull, black, straight hair. I shut my eyes closed. Worry and fear built up in me. Have I made a mistake? Will I still be pretty or attractive? Hell, will I still get married? My mind was swirling with all sorts of questions I knew were bizarre. I felt as if someone had cut and stripped me of my beauty and my confidence. I took a few deep breaths, and I opened my eyes. It was surreal. It was as if I saw myself for the first time in 20 years. And I was looking pretty good. I touched the soft little tight coils that sprang upwards in all directions. In the back, I could feel the cotton-like patches that thickened my crown. I was experiencing the unique characteristic of my hair. For the first time, after years of chemical straightening and flat ironing, to match a societal ideal of beauty. I thought, this is who I really am. Honestly, it took me a long time to accept and love the new woman I saw in the mirror. But every day, I grow and embrace my true self and beauty more. My beauty is like no other. And so is yours.